What up, folks? This is Pop Culture. I'm Alex Pop, and we are just hours away from the release of Avengers Endgame. We are nearly at the point where we witness the last-ditch effort to take down Thanos, this close to seeing the victory that will come when Ant-Man crawls up Main Street. Yeah, probably not. And being this close to the movie, I can officially now say that the marketing has done a great job keeping us in the dark about what's going to happen. We've just gotten a few character setups, the mere sense that they have a plan of some kind, and we've barely seen any of Thanos. All we've seen is that he's made his armor into a scarecrow. I am a little disappointed that the last trailer revealed, albeit briefly, that Tony Stark will be returning to Earth. We don't know how he gets back, but I would have preferred that the trailers just leave it at him drifting through space ready to die. But with everything else that's being saved for us to experience in the theater, I can't complain much. We've also gotten these posters that have become a meme, confirming who survived the snap and who fulfilled Genesis 3:19. I've put a few of these together myself, including one I made for my dear Cassie. Just makes Avengers Endgame feel more real. So with marketing as great as this, it's had me recollecting on a few trailers that didn't acknowledge that you don't need to show a lot for the movie to be a draw at the box office. Therefore, in celebration of Avengers Endgame, I'm counting down the worst anti-Avengers Endgame trailers. Those that drive you absolutely mad in how much they're not leaving for you to experience for the first time in the theater. Needless to say, there's going to be spoilers for each movie, so if I bring up a title you haven't seen yet, you can just click to the time code that appears on screen and it'll take you to the next slot. So without further ado, here are the top 10 movie trailers that showed way too much. Number 10. It seems that with Avengers Endgame, Marvel learned from one of their past mistakes. That mistake kicks off the list at number 10, the second trailer for Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now, even without the trailer, the reveal of the Winter Soldier's identity wouldn't have come as a surprise to comic book fans. But there are those out there who haven't read a lot of comics. I'm one of them, so I didn't know who the Winter Soldier was. Although it's blink and you miss it, the trailer shows him not once, but twice without his mask. I remember seeing at least one other YouTuber doing a reaction video in which he exclaimed, "Hey, was that Bucky Barnes?" I tend to think the reason behind the decision to give that part away was due to the negative reception that the twist in Iron Man 3 received from comic enthusiasts, where it turned out that Ben Kingsley's character was not the Mandarin as he was promoted to be, and was just a drunk actor distracting from the real Mandarin. So I guess after that they wanted to assure comic fans that they weren't pulling a similar bait and switch with the Winter Soldier. But for people like me, we couldn't be surprised in the theater to find out that Steve Rogers' best friend from the 40s was alive. Number 9. Coming in at number 9 is the most recent movie on this list, A Dog's Way Home. Based on a book by W. Bruce Cameron, it's a pretty simple story about a dog named Bella getting lost and wandering through the wilderness to find her way back to her owner. The movie's pretty bland and has a lot of plot points we've seen many times before in movies with similar stories. And there's even fewer surprises because the trailer does this for some reason. Although Bella's return to her owner happens differently in the movie, including her arrival home in the trailer at all makes no sense. It's like they think kids won't want to go to a movie unless they're 100% certain that there's going to be a happy ending. Kinda reminds me of a couple of Bible Man videos I used to have. The description on the back of the case for the 6 Lies of the Fibbler literally says, "Bible Man defeats the Fibbler in a dramatic fight." Even as a kid I was thinking, hey, you spoiled it for me. Adults don't want the ending of a movie given away, and I think most kids don't either. Number 8. Next on the list is one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, Free Willy. It's a pretty familiar story about 2 lost souls forming a unique bond, with one being a little kid and the other being something non-human. It's a story that's done okay in Free Willy, and I still like the movie, partially for nostalgic reasons. But similar to A Dog's Way Home, the trailer gives away pretty much all of the highlights, including the ending. Actually, A Dog's Way Home is kind of understandable compared to this. It spoils the most spectacular scene when Jesse stands under Willy as he breaches over the rocks to freedom. That shot is even on the freaking poster. Did they really think the kids needed to be assured that there was a happy ending with this movie? The title Free Willy is already kind of a spoiler. It's not totally uncommon for a trailer to include the movie's most iconic shot, but if it's the climax, probably not a good idea.
The greatest adventure of the summer. Free Willy.
Number 7. The trailer for Winter Soldier may not have spoiled anything for comic fans, but the trailer for The Amazing Spider-Man 2 kinda did. Those who were familiar with issue number 121 of the Amazing Spider-Man comics quickly recognized Emma Stone's wardrobe in several shots in the trailer, and were able to foresee that Gwen Stacy was going to die in the movie. I had learned of how Gwen was killed off in the comics, but I didn't recognize her clothing. I assumed that because Emma Stone was under contract for 3 movies, that she was going to die in the next one. So I was really taken off guard when it happened in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But even then, the trailer gave away a lot of what was built up for the third film, which would have been about Spider-Man facing off against the Sinister Six. We see that shot near the end where that mysterious figure walks by the Vulture wings and Doc Ock's robotic arms, and the marketing made it out that the Rhino was one of the main villains, when in fact he only shows up at the end. Heck, we see virtually all of the Rhino's screen time in the trailer, including the very last shot of the movie. It would have been so much cooler if they had left the Rhino out of the marketing altogether and build up the next movie with a surprise fight scene between Spider-Man and the first of the Sinister Six. At this point, I guess it doesn't matter, because The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4 got cancelled, as Sony deemed the second movie not profitable enough. So more than tripling its massive budget and grossing just $50 million less than the success of its predecessor is a box office failure. Got it. I'm still one of the remaining few who think this movie was excellent, but after seeing it, I realized I had already seen quite a bit. Number 6. In some cases, like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the final shot of a movie might be included in the trailer without you knowing that it's the final shot. This cannot be said about the trailer for Quarantine. An American remake of the Spanish found-footage horror movie Wreck, it's about a reporter and her cameraman getting trapped in an apartment building infested by a virus that causes a zombie outbreak. The trailer is topped off with the woman being dragged into the darkness to her apparent death. While one watching the trailer might presume that she could escape, anyone who's seen the original knows that that's the ending. This would essentially confirm that the remake isn't pulling any new twists, so it makes it hard to find any reasons to go see it. Number 5. I may still defend this movie. In fact, I will be making an in-depth video in the near future explaining why the critics are wrong about this movie, but one thing I will agree on is that the last trailer for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom included too many of the movie's biggest moments. The first trailer actually didn't show anything past the first hour, and yet people were complaining that it showed the entire movie. It's almost like the makers of the second official trailer were trolling those people. That second trailer showed too much of entire sequences, like Blue's capture and the T-Rex blood transfusion. And we got the last and biggest line from Ian Malcolm,
"Welcome to Jurassic World,"
as well as the mind-blowing shot of the Mosasaurus ready to feed on surfers, which I would have loved to have seen for the first time on the big screen instead of my phone. In the theater, I was laughing so gleefully upon seeing the T-Rex breaking into the zoo and roaring at the lion. I was lucky in that case, because I found out later that that shot was also spoiled in one of the TV spots. Now, the movie did still hold a number of surprises, like the reveal of what Macy really is, and the execution of the death of Isla Nublar, that kept me engaged even though I had a good idea of where the movie was going. But just look at how the trailer for the first Jurassic Park was extremely minimal in appearances of the dinosaurs, and yet Jurassic Park grossed more than any other movie at the time. Why couldn't the trailer for Fallen Kingdom take a hint from that? In fact, why couldn't any trailer on this list for that matter? Number 4. In a trailer for a horror movie, a little bit of mystery is naturally what draws you in, right? Well, I guess not to those who made Sinister a hit. I know this movie has its fans, but I found it to be yet another lame jump scare fest. Whatever your opinion is, I don't think it's a stretch to say that you would have enjoyed it more without the trailer, because it strips away any of the mystery that the movie would have otherwise. It wouldn't be so bad, except solving the mystery of Bagul, the specter behind the snuff films, is what Ethan Hawke's character spends almost the entire movie doing. But hey, why be with Hawke as he's figuring this out when we can just have Vincent D'Onofrio spell it out for us in the trailer?
The symbol is associated with a pagan deity named Bagul. He consumes the souls of human children. Early Christians believed that Bagul actually lived in the images themselves and that they were gateways into his realm. Children exposed to the images were especially vulnerable to Bagul's abductions.
Well, there goes any intriguing mystery. All we're left with now is Bagul repeatedly jumping out in front of the camera. Number 3. When a trailer is put together that focuses entirely on one of the coolest twists in one of the greatest action movies of all time, the people who made it need to be told these words.
You're fired.
Wrong Arnold movie. I'm talking about Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Same make. Same model. New mission.
While most people would think of Terminator Genesis as a top contender for a list like this, it seems to me that that trailer was just following the lead of Judgment Day, in spoiling the reveal of a well-known character switching roles in the story. Luckily for me, I had no idea what I was going to see in Terminator 2. I had only seen the first, and it was completely my understanding at that point that Arnold was just the bad guy in these movies. But when the T-800 told John, "Get down," and he shoots the T-1000, and I realized that he's now the hero, my jaw dropped for a moment, and then it slowly turned into a big silly smile. What a shame that other people, especially those seeing it in the theater in 1991, couldn't have had the same experience. All the trailer focuses on is the fact that the T-800 has been reprogrammed. They could have easily edited it in such a way that it would appear he's still the villain. But no, I guess you just need to hype it up to the max when it's the most expensive movie at the time.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day. This time, he's back. For good.
Trust me.
Number 2. The runner-up is the trailer for the oldest movie on the list, where it all but answers its own question. Soylent Green. This 1973 Charlton Heston flick is about... well, you can just watch the trailer to find out. The narrator tells you everything, what's happening in this futuristic world, the character backstories and motivations, and asks the same question 4 times, while rather obnoxiously leaving a dramatic pause between each word.
What is the secret of Soylent Green?
The trailer proceeds to show us those bulldozer things picking people up and their bodies on the conveyor belts.
You will find out why Soylent Green means life. You will find out why Soylent Green means death.
With all the information given in this trailer, anyone could guess what the secret of Soylent Green is. I remember my dad showing me this movie once on DVD, and afterwards we watched the trailer on the bonus features, and I thought, we could have seen the entire movie in just 3 minutes.
What is the secret of Soylent Green?
You just told me what it is. Number 1. Man, oh man, am I ever glad I saw this movie before seeing the trailer. If you have not seen this movie, this is where I strongly recommend that you skip to the next time code. The number 1 movie trailer that absolutely showed far too much is Castaway. This is a great movie, some of the best work from director Robert Zemeckis and lead star Tom Hanks. It's a gripping, harrowing Robinson Crusoe-like story about a man becoming stranded on a deserted island, trying to find his way across the sea back to civilization, with only the company of a volleyball. The movie on its own is incredibly riveting, which is why the trailer irks me more than any other. What were the people behind it thinking, adding scenes of the man returning to the mainland and to his former fiancée?
You were lost for 4 years. We had a funeral, coffin,
What was in it?
The thing that makes this worse than any other entry on the list is that as you watch Castaway, it's the kind of survival story where a happy ending isn't guaranteed. It could be one of those tragedies where the main character doesn't make it but still leaves the audience deep in thought. So to see this trailer first, which I'm sure a lot of people back in 2000 did, and therefore getting the immediate confirmation that he returns home, it completely destroys the entire experience. Just why? Why would they do this? I will never know, and that's why Castaway is the #1 anti-Avengers Endgame trailer. So that does it for the list. Be sure to let me know in the comments if you agree with my picks or if you think I missed any. And be sure to stick around for my review of Avengers Endgame. I am so ready for it, and I'm seeing it on opening night, smack dab in the middle of the auditorium. And while I'm still here right now, I want to mention something that I'd like to make a push for. I don't know if this is possible, but if I remember correctly, Adam Driver wanted this for Star Wars The Last Jedi. I would like to see a movie that has no trailers. It would have to be something that is already guaranteed to be a mammoth global success. Maybe they could have a small teaser just to assure that people know when it's coming out. Maybe something akin to that Ghostbusters 3 teaser we got a few months ago. But just limit the rest to posters and banners. I just want to throw that out there. I think it would be a very interesting experiment for a hugely anticipated movie to have no official trailers. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. That's a wrap. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like if you liked, subscribe for more. This is Pop Culture. I'm Alex Pop.